The kite changes its grip and crushes the mouse to death. A fantail cuckoo watches the slaughter. A final shake and the mouse is gone. Soon the kite will return to its vantage point in the tree to sit and digest its meal. An emu steps cautiously down the dune face. Large numbers of these native birds roam this dune system. They feed on succulent herbs, berries and caterpillars, and drink from soaks of fresh water along the base of the dunes. Abandoned farm clearings provide a bonus of introduced plants. This presents another problem: how to control the spread of weeds caused by the emu's droppings. Crested pigeons also use this habitat. The short stumps in front of the legs are vestigial wings, and that booming sound is the voice of the female emu. It's significant that Aboriginal man lived here for thousands of years in harmony with his environment. Yet just 50 years ago, settlers came and cleared the land to graze their sheep and cattle. When it finally proved uneconomic, they simply walked off, leaving it like this. The settlers shot out the unique Tulaki wallaby, introduced dozens of exotic plants, sheep, cattle and goats, foxes, cats and mice, and rabbits. The rabbit is a particular problem. The changes caused by settlement are being analyzed by John Douglas and his team. This work takes time and effort and money, but it's vital if the system is to be conserved and properly managed. In places, the old farms meet the shoreline of the Coorong, a different habitat with different animals. Black cormorants and silver gulls feed in the deeper water. Along the shore, ancient muds of old lake beds have been extruded like toothpaste by the weight of encroaching dunes. Pushed into folds, they've since been exposed and eroded by the Coorong waters. The muds are soft and plastic and formed as layers of sediments from the dead plants and animals of a previous Coorong.
The bottom layer of this sample is a shelly grit. On top a layer of decayed algae. Then more layers of silt and small shells. And this dark layer was bacterial ooze. Each layer represents a different set of environmental conditions in the past, and the entire sample represents perhaps 100 years. By analysing these layers, we can understand the past environments of the Coorong, the salinity and temperature of the water, and the plants and animals that lived there then, and compare these with those living there now.
Such a record will help John Douglas to confirm or deny the belief that the Coorong is slowly dying because of the recent changes introduced by man. So far, his observations of the numbers and diversity of water birds alone tend to indicate that the ecosystem is still healthy. Flocks of black cormorants return to the sand spits after feeding. During summer, the water level usually drops about a metre, exposing broad sand and mud flats. Small waders like these stints gather to feed on small crustaceans and worms. So does the red-capped dotterel. The stints migrate each year. They spend the winter breeding in the northern hemisphere and fly south in thousands at the start of spring. Because of the large seasonal changes in water level, temperature and salinity, only a few species of aquatic plants and animals are found here. But those that have adapted exist in great numbers, providing food for another frenzy of black cormorants and silver gulls. Alternating with the bare sand spits are vegetated dunes, often reaching the Coorong edge as small bays fronted by reed and salt meadow swamps. The Coorong lagoon is never more than 5 meters deep. Here it has a muddy bottom, formed over centuries from rotting vegetation. Mud crabs are common food for the native water rat, Hydromes. It catches its prey mostly at night and always eats it out of the water. Hydromes is seldom seen, for by day it retreats to a burrow along the swamp edge. The entrances are concealed by the juncus and scirpus reeds. The native rats prefer this habitat, and because it's fragile and limited in extent, John Douglas needs to know more about the ecology of these animals. So he traps them for study and tagging.
And here it is, Hydromes, beautifully adapted to its amphibious life, with prominent eyes to seek out prey at night, long whiskers to feel prey in the muddy bottom. Its front feet are adapted to digging in the mud, and the long tail acts as a rudder. Broad hind feet are for powerful swimming. Together, they are symbolic of the adaptation of our native animals to their habitat.
Sharing the swamp edge, larger waders like this white egret and the white-faced herons search for small fish and crustaceans in the sedges. In the water behind, small grebes are feeding beneath the surface. Royal spoonbills sift the bottom mud for small invertebrates. Ponds within the swamp provide feeding and nesting areas for swans and other water birds. The swamp is a complex of salt-tolerant samphire meadows, reeds, brackish and freshwater soaks. The study will continually look at transects through these areas over many years to detect any changes that may occur. Mobile dunes blown by the wind from the ocean side of the barrier system are slowly encroaching upon this swamp complex. Rainwater that has been stored in huge aquifers inside the dunes leaks out along the swamp edges as freshwater soaks. On the dune edge grows the freshwater rush, Phragmites, and other species of reeds are found further out. In the nearby brackish pools, rupia flourishes. During summer, this aquatic plant produces small tubers which are rich in starch and are an important part of the diet of over 20 species of waterfowl. This, then, is the Young Husband Peninsula. On the ocean side, the beach, 4 dunes, swales, vegetated and mobile dunes. On the Coorong side, stabilized blowouts, old farms, swamps, flats and freshwater soaks. All are interacting through time as a system, an ecosystem, as land forms soils, plants and animals. It's a system still in almost pristine condition because the Coorong Lagoon has acted like an ancient moat, making it difficult to reach from the land. At the southern end, the lagoon shallows to become a series of salt pans and samphire meadows fringed by paperbark trees. There are causeways through the salt pans, so people have access to the barrier system, and the delicate balance between plant and animal life has suffered the effects of dune buggies and trail bikes. The outcome of the survey will be exact data about the Young Husband Peninsula. Only when John Douglas knows precisely what makes this ecosystem function can he recommend ways of managing it for future generations. He sums up the philosophy of the survey in the words of the 19th century philosopher-naturalist Henry Thoreau. In wildness lies the preservation of the world.
Great. We can't wash Macca often because we're on tank water, so we wash him by bucket, and it's a lot quicker and it saves a lot more water. Rowan cares for our chickens. He cleans out the water dishes and puts in fresh water every morning and night. Our real baby on the farm is the goat called Priscilla. When she gets hot, she likes having a bottle of water. She always cuddles up to you as your real mother, because she never had a mother because we got her when she was only a couple days old.
Hey Laura, come and help me with the water. Okay. Put the hose in the bucket. Oh, yeah. I didn't touch it.
Stop mucking around, Lachlan.
I didn't touch it. The tank must be empty. This one's full. We'll have to turn it on.